Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I have a very unbalanced rack with 6 vowels. Should I change? Well, the alternative to changing would be MOAI, only 12 points and a ropey rack leave. I am going to change. Yeah, just checking I don't have meow, and I don't. So, what to keep? Pretty hard, but I think just the E. Wow. Okay. Not great. A lot of clunky consonants. And one of the things you're hoping for is that with opponent now going first, every tile he plays will be a floater. So you may be able to get an 8-letter play down. I think actually through an A I would have Alberg Ho, but that could be Alberg He with an I. Could there be another 8? There's certainly not a 7 with this rack. So what if opponent changes as well? Tricky. Very tricky. Well, no, it's not. I would play Brog, and opponent does change. So Brog for 30. Gosh, another unbalanced rack, Q and Z, and just the solitary vowel, but that may be enough to stop me from needing to change. No U's on the board, no I's on the board. But this rack is so non-bingo-y that it may be worth playing the Z off first. I think it's too good to change. Just a play of Z's would score quite a lot. 28 points. The Q's are worth about -8 or 9, I think. So not an easy start for this game. Very unbalanced racks. The first one was 6 vowels, and since then just clunky consonants. Fortunately, opponent has not yet got any points at all on the board. So is Z's really the best I can do? I've got Zo in column 10, but that doesn't score very much. Yeah, and with only 1 vowel, I can't really do much by way of an overlap play. But is there a way of getting the Z tripled? Well, not that I've seen so far. Opponent taking a while with this play, slightly ominous. And if he changed only 1 tile, then presumably he kept a pretty strong 6-letter set and could well be bingoing. If opponent places an E under the H, I could have shekel. Okay, so just 19 for opponent, that's good. But none of his floaters really assist. Z's is quite nice, it doesn't provide much for opponent. But can I do any better than that? Tricky. Quite a tight board. Z's for 28. I'm keeping the T, which, if I draw an A, could give me cat, and 2 A's would give me talak. So I am going with this. Just 1 E. But I lead. My E can go next to the Z, but I don't have a 5-letter play in column 14. Quite tempting to change here. I can't see any good rack leave, and I'm not really seeing any good score. Well, opponent just improves column 14 because EM. That's 37 points. Okay, so I'm not changing. My Q can go above the I. Can I do any better in this spot. How frustrating that I can't put a single consonant in front of EM. I think I will go with this. I do have a Q spot. Just wondering about playing higher up, but I'm not going to get doubled. This has to be better than changing. I'm going with this. So my Q spot remains, but that's all it is. Chi for 22. Fries my M play may distract opponent. Column 15 is quite hot. DR and S all go next to fries. EM takes a number of hooks. So this is quite an open board, quite a bingo-y board. And my rack is a million miles away from a bingo. But I still think QI better than changing. Wow, opponent goes in that spot. Now maybe that's great, only 15 points, fantastic. Mia takes A, E and S in front. I think this is the moment to change. Horrible, horrible rack. What about keeping NT? I think that's the right thing to do. It has not worked out. I'm back to having just a solitary vowel. I do have an R for Friser. Rem only takes an S. So I don't have a 5-letter play in column 15. Duke only takes an S. Now I do have Glent and Emir. That would be quite nice, sort the rack out. Decent rack leave. Taking out a hotspot for opponent. And somehow I'm still leading. I don't know what problems opponent has faced with his racks. Certainly when one has a run of bad racks, one's tempted to think that one's opponent has had some decent ones. And certainly the changing one tile looks like that was the case, but his racks have not resulted in any bingos being played yet. I was going to say Glent remains available, but opponent has obstructed it. But surely I have something. Well, I have Gurn. That keeps a T. Not good. Gentle doesn't work. Genty has to have an S. Turn may be good. I think it is. 16 points. That's better than changing. Not the rack leave I was hoping for of RT. Gurn may be good, but I think I prefer this to LTT. What about Tenge? Am I confusing that with Wenge? Let's get this off very quickly. And it's good. Fantastic. So, this rack actually looks quite promising, but I think that's in comparison to the horrible racks I've had so far. Not seeing a 7 with this rack, but there could be an 8. So, where are the floaters? There's B. Not seeing anything there. How about the K? No, nothing. But the board's reasonably tight apart from this S hook on Duke. Row B bingo is going to be face value and provide access to triple word squares. Now my Y can go next to the K. So I could play Yag, leaving ALRT. That's quite a nice rack lead, but it's not a great one. The and Tenge play have really dampened down the volatility created by EM. So, what else do I have down here? Do I have any GRY plays? Or AGRY? No, opponent's still taking a while on his moves. He's a couple of minutes ahead of me in terms of his thinking time. Row D, a bingo lane which could be doubled if it ends in a vowel. I've got the ly ending. I think that may be why I felt this rack had some promise. Now there's floating H and floating R. Well, neither of them suggest anything. I can't think of any front extensions of ERR. So is YAG all I've got? Well, I've got YATA in that spot, but that opens row O and the rack lever GL. Pretty grim. My Y can also go underneath the B. But it would have to be a play ending in Y because R only takes an E. I have Bragley in column 8, which has some merit because it doesn't take an S, so it doesn't take an S and it obstructs the Duke S hook and it sorts the rack out, leaving just AT, and it turns over tiles with both blanks still to come. The main downside of Bragley is the dismal score, but YAG takes E, I and S, so although it may score more than Bragley, it offers a lot more for opponents. Great, Bragley remains available. Haven only takes an S. So let me see what YAG scores here. 26 points. And only 13 for Bragley. This is better, annoyingly, even though I'm gifting this beautiful row N spot. Yeah, this has got to be a better play, just in terms of score and rack leave. And it is taking out the S hook on Duke, forcing an S bingo down into row N or row B. But what about an alternative to YAG in this spot? Let me put this back. What about a play ending in a Y? Cav, not good. No, not seeing anything. So YAG for 26. Still only one vowel, how annoying. And what this means is, of course, at the end of the game, my rack is going to be swamped with vowels. And of more significance, I don't have an E or an I to go after YAG. And I think my main worry on my opening rack when I retained just an E was that by retaining a vowel-heavy rack leave, I might have another vowel-heavy rack leave. Well, that certainly has not been the case. This feels like the 4th or 5th consonant-heavy rack. Opponent's changed. Fantastic. Only 36 points. Yex takes nothing. Annie takes an L. I can't use column 14. Well, this is a rack full of bingo-y tiles, yet I'm actually contemplating changing. Or am I? What about playing Clank? Because I don't lead, but we're neck and neck, and 17 points, that's definitely better than changing. Yeah. I'm going with this. Great, I draw a blank. But still no vowels. Maybe opponent's hogging them. Unlikely given his plays. So I guess they're just in the bag. But maybe he's getting swamped now, which would be good because I do not have a good lead. And I don't have a great rack. And look at this, no floating vowels on the board to assist with sorting this rack out. And given that I have the blank, I would like to get rid of the J pretty sharpish. Maybe opponent will be drawn to column 8, this triple word square. No vowels at all. I don't have anything through this A. I'm just looking around at the vowels on the board. I may need to change, but it's frustrating changing because this isn't a great rack for a great board for bingos. The bingo lanes B and N are pretty suboptimal. Words don't get doubled and you open access to triple word squares. And the only other lane is row D, which has to end in a vowel. Well, at the moment I don't have any. Opponent down to 10 minutes, 14 on my clock. Half the bag has gone. And we are still neck and neck. Is there anywhere for my J? What about a play through ANI? No, not seeing anything. I've got brand in column 8, keeping CJT and creating a new lane and only scoring about 10 points. That can't be best. Wow, just 6 for opponent. I really am minded to change now. Yeah. So, what goes? This is quite a nice set. All bingo-y tiles, and one C has gone, but it is too consonant heavy. Do I keep the N? 2 N's to come, no R's, 4 T's. And I would like to have a vowel. The blank can be a vowel. I think I will keep this. Wow, and I draw the Q. However, I now do have an I, so I can play chi in row B. Interesting. And leave a half-decent rack. Still only one vowel. Absolutely ridiculous. In a game, in a real-life game, you'd be harbouring suspicions as to whether one started with a full set of tiles. But that's not possible playing online, so it's just the way the tiles have gone. So what if chi is blocked? Chi in row N and Yagi. Great, look at these last 2 scores by opponents, 6 and 7. Fantastic. Keep it up, opponent. So chi here. Do I definitely not have a bingo? Chindar is good, but I can't think of any longer words with a T. Yeah, this is quite nice because I'm inviting opponent to play a 5-letter set while my rack is maturing into a bingo-y set. Now, what might be better is playing chin somewhere just to sort out the vowel consonants. And this also scores a lot more. And although I'm opening row O, it's not a massive opening because a play would have to end in I or possibly IS. Well, not a huge number of bingos end like that. I guess ISE is a possibility, but this is overall a better play. I am going with this. Finally, some vowels. But do I have a bingo? I have diluter, but love only takes an S. And this is the matter I was mentioning earlier. Bingos do need to end in an S for ST or a vowel. So I can have a bingo on my rack like dilutor and just have nowhere for it. Maybe if opponent's got vowels, he'll play in row O and create a spot. One can but hope. What about floaters? Not terribly many. There's the C. Not seeing anything there. How about the B? No. The D would require 2 vowels. Not seeing anything. And likewise, row D would be 2 vowels and an M. M here takes nothing in front. Well, I lead by 30 or 40 points. So even if opponent bingos, I'll be not a million miles behind. And I'm sitting with a half-decent rack. What if opponent changes now? Well, I guess I play Dewey. Great, Dewey remains available. Now, opponent has provided a floating N. This rack plus an N underlit, blank as an E. Let me consider well, what could end in an N? A word ending turn. Not seeing anything. Trin. How am I doing for time? 12 minutes. $35 tiles in the bag. What else? How else would a word ending in N end? Let me consider the blank as a vowel. A. Not seeing anything. That's underlit. Doesn't look good. Dilutor plus an N. Not seeing anything. No. Okay, I think I will go with DWE. So let me get this down. DUI for 23. Well, I have Thralls, which plays in row B. Does it play anywhere else? It does. It plays in row M. Finally, I am bingoing. But look at this, only one vowel still. Well, I can, in my mind's eye, see exactly what's going to happen after I bingo. I'm going to have 5 or more vowels. But is opponent going to bingo? At the moment, I'm marginally ahead on quite a non-bingo-y board. Now, the two Thralls choices, row M is better, despite it opening a triple-triple, because Thralls opens access to this triple word square with an A underneath it. So just a lot more scoring potential. Still one blank to come. Do I have a bingo ending in N? audia3 is good, but that's a 9. Turnhall is good, but that doesn't have N in last place. Nothing with the C. Okay, so it's Thralls and Loves. I'm not seeing any other 7-letter bingo. Wow, and Thralls has only got one vowel. So what if the blank were to be a vowel? Opponent has blocked one spot. Fortunately, row B remains. The other thing I was contemplating was if the blank were a different vowel, were a vowel rather than an S. Not seeing anything there. Nothing there. That's where I was thinking of a audia3. In Thrall, well, N's in the wrong spot for that. Nope. No. Okay, well, here goes. Thralls for 70. And I draw 5 vowels. Okay, well, they're not terrible. I do have an S. But let me look at the remaining vowels. 16 out of 29. There's a lot of vowels to come. How many big tiles are there? There's just the J of the big 4. Y, a couple of W's. B and P. Now, what's opponent been up to? He played 5 last turn. Interesting. If he plays in column 8, he'll be taking out a lot of bingo lanes. ST only takes an E in front. This rack actually feels fairly close to a bingo, but I don't think there is one. What are the floaters? TH. Just TH. No, not seeing a bingo there. Now, I have iota on my rack. And I only mention that as the obvious way of sorting the rack out. Row M is a bingo lane underlapping 5 and ending in S. Notitious would need the right floater and a slightly different rack. I have station onto the N, but A station not good. But I do have the Asian ending. Interesting. Now, opponent has, I think this is the first time I've had opponent who's just used up so much time. It'll be interesting to see Whether that's because he's had particularly gnarly racks to deal with. I don't think I've played against this opponent before. Now my lead, 90 points. How long is that going to last? Iota doesn't play in above the A of thralls. I could play Iotas in row A, but I don't want to burn the S that cheaply. Iotas doesn't play in row M. Wow, big score for opponent. Look at this, my lead, only 40 points. None of these floaters help. I feel I need to take out this spot here with J's, W's and Y's. Opponent's floaters aren't that useful apart from the S. So what do I have here? It's all these vowels to come. Tricky. Well, TA for only 14 points, keeping a vowel heavy rack, that's pretty poor. I think I might just need to let opponent have that. He could play JA. 9 minutes on my clock. So what about playing Iota here? It takes a B and a D in front, scores 11 points, but a decent rack leave, especially with vowels to come. It's not gifting anything to opponent, it's basically sorting my rack out. And turning over quite a few tiles with a blank to come. Okay, I don't love this. Is there anywhere better for Iota? And what about playing Tau here? 16 points. That obstructs row M for bingos ending in S. Still 3 I's to come. And an I would really kill this rack. So that was 16. Let me go back to this. This is 11. A 5-point sacrifice to burn the I and to turn over one more tile. I actually like that. I am, well, giving up the Asian ending, but that's not worth hanging on to. 8 minutes on my clock. Yeah, so many I's and O's to come. I think I have to burn those. In fact, I have to burn all 4 of these tiles for different reasons, either for replication or because of the I and O danger. I'm going with this. Wow, I draw the second blank. Fantastic. What an amazing sight. And I see an E for the first time in the game, I think. That was the danger, 56 points. I now lead by only 5. However, that takes out a super hot spot. So, what do I have here? Wow, this is tricky. I feel if I played double E, I could leave a decent rack leave, and there are bingo lanes. Wow, the bingo lanes have shrunk a bit. There's row N for bingos ending in E. Iota has taken out row D, but there are floaters here. Now, what about the T? Do I have a bingo this turn with the T? Gosh. Testate? Is testate good? It could be. It could be a new word in, testate. Not good. Let's get that back. My worry about playing just double E is that I pick up double O. The remaining tiles are pretty non-bingo-y, so I'd like to keep scoring even while I've got a bingo-y rack, because that bingo may never happen. But how to do that? And if I play double E here, which is the obvious spot creating a nice lane, well, opponent's just going to say thank you very much and get 40 points. 6 minutes on my clock. Very tricky situation. I could play double E here for 10 points, pretty dismal. But not providing anything for opponent. I'm denying myself this N. Just wondering if I have a bingo ending in N right now. Don't think I do. Don't have anything to go after JA. Only one E to come. And the E could be useful for going in front of EST, but 3 of them is just too many. Very tricky situation. Do I play double E? No V's to come, so what's opponent going to play? Especially if he's got a vowel-heavy rack. I'm minded to do this. This is 14 points. The rack leave is sensational. Row D is available as a bingo lane. Eta takes S and T. I am going with... Is this the right thing to do? It's not, because I'm taking out this row M lane. I'm playing down here. Double E for 10. Okay, so I draw vowels. Do I have a bingo? Anything with a B or a D? No. What about a T? Possibly. What about, well, no longer got the N. It would have to have to be a 9-letter play. What about row M? Opponent's gone there. Pian takes. Ah, yes. Oh, yes. And I'm agonising over Cotto's. I think maybe given the time one should just play it. Does it take an S? Cotto's for 73. And it does. Fantastic. So I lead by 70. Opponent does not have a bingo on his rack. The C is a really blocky tile. Wow. Okay, and I've got the ability with the B and the Y to score something on my final move. But can I get... What a stroke of good fortune. I so nearly played double E. Wow. Small decisions, big consequences. What a game. Both of us down to our final few minutes. So I can play boy and biota. Opponent would have out wild through a U, but there's no bingo lanes on this board or no floaters he can use at all, apart from the T, and he doesn't have anything with that. So anything better than boy, well, just BY would be better. OB is good. So I have BO. Now, what else? 2 minutes on opponent's clock. Nothing goes after IN that I've got. Can I use this S? Not really. I have Yo. 26 points, and that's really just demonstrates how jolly useful it is to have this as a final rack. Opponent does need a bingo to win, but I should be able to win with a decent margin. Opponent's got the E for EST, but I don't think he can get rid of the W in row A. Down to his, well, last 90 seconds. He's got jaw. Now I have jab. I think I want to get rid of the B and the Y to reduce countback. 31 for opponent. Okay. My BY spot remains available. Opponent's got LO. Is he going out? He's got Col. He's got Log. So yes, he is. A tat only takes an S. I've got Ob in this spot for 20. I've got Buy for 18. What about B for 27. I think that's best, and I think that beats YO at the bottom. I'm going with this. So opponent's got to find the best spot for LO. I can see log in column 14. Does he have something even better? That would be 8 points. He's got low and of. That's only 7. 40 seconds on opponent's clock. He certainly used all of the time available. And just 3 on mine, so a bit of an epic game time-wise. And just one of us scraping over 400, so not a high-scoring game by any means. Ten seconds on opponent's clock. And he goes out for 8. Okay, the same score as log. Wow, and he's gone. That was fast. So the final score, 357 for my opponent, 410 for me, a winning margin of 53 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what an epic encounter. That went on forever. Thank goodness I won. So this is how it all began, and it was an awful rack. And I changed, and I thought about Moai. Score and rack lead pretty grim. This is pretty much a wash. EII probably worth about -12, so I'm happy with changing, avoiding on your opening move using the 2-point rule, providing any floaters at all. So opponent's rack, and he changes. My rack, and I play Brog. That looks fine. Opponent's rack. Wow, missed bingo, but a jolly hard one to see. Skin food. Plays Duke. And I play Zeds for 28. But Zest. Zest and Dukes. Okay, but that would have put the Z in column 8, so I'm not a fan. Opponent also lacking vowels at this point, plays Frizz. And I play M for 37, but D12. Well, Chin and NE, interesting. Getting rid of the Q, retaining the E. Yeah, I think that would have been a better play in avoiding all the column 15 dramas or scoring opportunities. Yeah, just 11-point difference there. Definitely worth playing Chin. Now, opponent with no vowels at all plays Mir, and I think this is where I change, and I like that. Opponent plays and I play Tenge for 18, which is fine. Now, opponent's rack starting to improve, plays Haven. And this is what I was thinking of, Yata and Yag, K11, both in the same spot, and I went with Yag. Opponent doesn't play Vises, plays Z's for 36. And here we are, we're pretty much neck and neck. Unbalanced rack. I play Clank for 17. Burning 4 tiles. Vac, J12. Because of Axis. But then setting up an S spot. And only turning over 2 tiles. Opponent's rack now. Wow. Okay. Lots of vowels suddenly. I thought he had Uvius, but he doesn't. Plays Love. 4 points between us. And I change, but I could have got N9. Jin, that is burning a blank for only 34 points and setting up row O, so I like my change. Well, that's fairly close, actually. Wow, missed bingo, outseen. N6 and yay. Gosh. Okay, well, that was a stroke of fortune for myself. I now do play chin for 40, and I like that. Opponent's rack plays open, and here we go. Now, this is where my rack has finally improved. Do I have a bingo? I do not, and I played Dewey, but Rudy also available, and possibly worth doing for the extra points and better rack leave. Opponent's rack plays 5, and now I have thralls, and that is the only bingo. Opponent plays souse for 41, and now the end of the game is drawing close. 17 tiles in the bag. I have a 50-point lead, and I have a tricky rack. So I play iota for 11, J12, that, taking an S and a U. I don't want that volatility, so I'm happy with my play. Opponent plays jar, and now, no bingo. Phew, I thought there may have been one. Yeah, now that would have been a spot for AE, and I was looking to play off precisely double E to maximise my bingo chances. I didn't need a bingo, but I felt I was so close to one, I ought to maximise my chances of getting it. Opponent plays Pian, which is just manna from heaven because I have Cottos. That Fetus also available, D2. Wow, look at that, F-E-A-T underneath iota. But I'd like Cottos because it takes out a bingo lane. There's still an A to come. No bingo for opponent, plays whited. And finally, I play bay for 27. And opponent has law for 8, but could have got one more, G13 with doll and emo. So, what a game. That felt absolutely epic because there were so many grim racks to get through. We were so close in score, and both of our clocks ran really low. So, super exciting stuff, very tense, and always fun. Well, fun to bingo, but also fun to wrestle with these challenging racks. There's always a best move, and the challenge is to find it. So, although one may wince and feel cross when you've got a rubbish rack, it still presents a challenge that needs to be solved, and there is satisfaction in finding either the best play or a good one. So many thanks to my opponent for a good battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.